If you were to ask a Spider-Man fan well versed in the Silver Age of comics who the web-slinger's greatest villain is, chances are they're gonna say the Green Goblin. However, if you were to ask a fan more familiar with the Bronze Age, they're more than likely to respond with one simple word: Venom. Sure, Venom has dabbled in being an anti-hero over the years, and his main alter ego Eddie Brock is an incredibly tragic character, but that said, the fact remains that the character's one defining trait over the years has been his sheer, unadulterated hatred for Spider-Man and everything he stands for. With that in mind, I'm Will for What Culture, back from obsessively telling anyone who'll listen to watch Into the Spider-Verse, it's really good you guys, to bring you the 10 worst things Venom has ever done to Spider-Man. Number 10, pushed him in front of a subway train. Before Venom made his full appearance in The Amazing Spider-Man 300, numerous partial appearances and teasers were featured on the pages of the preceding issues. One of these instances involved the very first time Venom actively tried to kill Peter Parker, taking advantage of the fact that he can block his spider sense by pushing him onto the tracks of an oncoming subway train. Sure, Peter managed to leap out of the way in the nick of time, but it's chilling how simple this attempted murder was. No elaborate scheme, no monologue, no preamble, just pushing your nemesis in front of a New York train, hoping it will crush him to death. I mean, really? That's not cool, man. Number 9, killed Earth 2301's version of Uncle Ben. Ben Parker is easily the single most pivotal character in Spider-Man's origin story, not counting Spidey himself, and to this day, Uncle Ben's murder remains one of the most heart-wrenching deaths in all of comics. In the Earth 2301 reality, otherwise known as Marvel's Mangaverse, the person behind Uncle Ben's death was not a carjacker, but that universe's Venom. While this took place well outside Marvel's more mainstream continuities, such as Earth 616 or Earth 1610, the fact remains that Spider-Man still very much loves and admires his uncle. Despite how obscure the Mangaverse is as compared to other continuities, that doesn't take away from how heinous it was for Venom to take the old man's life. And it certainly doesn't help that he did it right in front of Spidey, forcing him to watch as the man who raised him was killed in cold blood. Number 8, literally sucked the life out of him. Twice. While a competent host certainly makes things easier, the Venom symbiote has proven that it is perfectly capable to destroying Spidey on its own. This is evidenced by the events of What If number 4, what if the alien costume had possessed Spider-Man? As it turns out, the answer to that question is nothing good. In the Earth 1089 reality, Spidey waited too long to get the suit checked out by Reed Richards. In turn, the entity permanently bonded to Peter Parker and began to suck the very life out of him. Once Peter had nothing left to give, the Venom symbiote abandoned him, leaving him to die of old age. Worse yet, that's not the only time this has happened. In What If number 114, we see the Earth 9811 reality in which the Marvel heroes were forced to spend 25 years on Secret Wars' battle world. During that time, the symbiote once again took over Spidey. This time, however, instead of leaving Spidey as a decrepit old man, it stayed attached until Peter Parker was nothing but bones. Whereas Eddie Brock tried to destroy Spidey from the outside, realities exist where the Venom symbiote itself managed to do it from within. Number 7, impersonated him to ruin his reputation. Following the infamous status quo altering Civil War event, to say that things within the Marvel Universe were dicey would be an understatement. One team that emerged during the reshuffling of Marvel's lineup was Norman Osborn's Dark Avengers, a team that consisted of various supervillains pretending to be established Marvel heroes. One of the heroes to have their persona stolen was Spider-Man, and the imposter was, of course, Venom, who was given a special remedy that would help the symbiote take the form of Spidey's suit. First of all, stealing someone's identity is one of the lowest things one could possibly do. Secondly, this led to other heroes, as well as the general public, to believe Spidey had sided with the former Green Goblin, and the fact that Spidey had recently gone back to his own black costume didn't exactly help. Way to kick a guy in the balls while he's down, guys. Number 6, turned his allies against him for his refusal to kill. Even when Venom is forced to work with Spider-Man to achieve a common goal, he still can't seem to shake his insatiable need to make Spidey's life miserable at every available opportunity. One such instance came during the Maximum Carnage crossover event, which saw Venom and Spider-Man join forces and recruit a whole host of other Marvel characters to try and take down Carnage and his newly formed syndicate of supervillains. Eventually, however, Venom decided that Peter Parker's by-the-book, non-lethal brand of superhero justice simply wasn't going to cut it. He then used this to turn Spidey's other morally dubious allies, such as Black Cat, against him simply because he refused to add to the bloodshed Carnage was already causing. It's no secret that Venom and Spider-Man don't exactly see eye to eye, but using his morals to cause him pain when they share the exact same goal is the very definition of a low blow. Number 5. He tried to make him an accessory to murder anyway. Despite Spider-Man refusing to sink to Venom's murderous level during Maximum Carnage, it was Venom who would have the last laugh during the mini-series Venom Lethal Protector. The two were once again forced to work together in order to shut down a facility that was forcibly causing Venom's symbiote to reproduce, so they could create their own symbiote-clad supervillains. In the end, it was revealed that the new symbiotes could be defeated simply by flipping a switch and killing them. However, it was possible that their innocent human hosts would also perish as a result. Venom, of course, has no problem taking that chance. Spidey, on the other hand, wasn't having it. In the end though, despite Peter's pleading, Venom goes ahead and flips the switch. Ultimately, the hosts survive, but the fact remains that Venom had absolutely no problem with practically spitting on Spidey's moral code right in front of his face. Worse yet, the Clintar symbiotes are still technically sentient beings, meaning that Spidey's no-killing rule was still violated. Number 4. He quote-unquote killed him. After being reunited with the Venom symbiote and escaping from prison, Eddie Brock wasted absolutely no time in going after Spider-Man once again. Venom told Spidey to meet him on a deserted island so they could battle to the death free of outside interference, which is already pretty terrifying all on its own. When the fight pushes Peter Parker to his limit, however, he decides it's best to fake his own death and live to fight another day. And thanks to some clever trickery on Spidey's part, Venom was left believing that he had caused the utter evisceration of his nemesis, leaving him nothing but a pile of bones. What makes this so sadistic on Venom's part is the sheer amount of joy and fulfillment after quote-unquote killing Spider-Man. There was no second guessing or remorse, just pure, unadulterated satisfaction. When killing a person brings you that much inner joy, you know you have some pretty serious issues. Number 3. Inadvertently unleashing Carnage. For a character who hates Spider-Man as much as Venom does, it's rather ironic that one of the single worst things he ever did to the web-slinger was something he did completely by accident. Unaware that the Venom symbiote could asexually reproduce, Eddie Brock simply left his prison cell without looking back during his aforementioned escape. This allowed a new, stronger symbiote to fall into the hands of his cellmate, serial killer Cletus Cassidy. Cassidy would then, of course, take up the mantle of Carnage and set out to cause as much devastation as he possibly could, which is a sizable amount, given that he is physically stronger than Venom, more unhinged than Venom, and lacks Venom's moral code, which is already pretty twisted to begin with. What ensued was nothing short of pure chaos, and Carnage would remain a thorn in the side of both Spidey and Venom, as well as a living nightmare for anyone unfortunate enough to find themselves in Cassidy's path. Number 2. Tormented his loved ones for the fun of it. One of the very first things Eddie Brock did after obtaining the Venom symbiote was to pay a creepy visit to Spider-Man's wife, Mary Jane Watson Parker. He did this for absolutely no reason other to scare the absolute hell out of her and get under Spidey's skin. In addition, he would frequently do the same to Peter's beloved Aunt May. He had nothing to gain from these encounters and had no plan going in. He simply did it because he knew the pain it would cause for everyone involved. Sure, it's one thing to use your rival's loved ones as poker chips to get what you want, but it takes a special kind of sadist to do it just because you feel like causing fear and anger for the sake of fear and anger. Number 1. He helped orchestrate the rise of an anti-Spider-Man dystopian police state. To say that Spider-Man Reign is a controversial comic would be an understatement. Whatever your opinion on the book is, however, there's no denying how utterly harrowing it is to see an elderly Peter Parker fight for his life in a horrendous dystopian setting. The main antagonist of Reign is Mayor Waters, who takes over the city through Reign, a militarized police force, and Web, a force field that assures no one can enter or leave New York City. It soon becomes clear that the mayor's assistant slash developer of Web, Edward Sachs, is none other than Venom himself. Venom uses Web to replicate and project his symbiote onto the people of New York, creating a mindless army to do his anti-Spider-Man bidding. In the end, the only way to defeat Venom is to kill him, which can only be accomplished by blowing the Sinister Six to smithereens. Spider-Man reluctantly does so, which adds another instance of Venom forcing him to break his no-killing rule. That's about as extreme as it gets.